Ugram Veeram Mahavishtum Jvalantam Sarvatomukham Nasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrutyor Murtyum Namamyaham. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Pranams to the Lord. Pranams to all the Mahatmas. A very auspicious occasion indeed. We have all assembled here today to relish a glorious avatar. Amrutyuhu Sarvadik Simha Sandhata Sandhiman Stiraha Ajodurmarshana Shasta Vishutatma Surariha. Bhishmacharya gives a glorious description of the avatara in Vishnu Sahasranama. The very first nama he uses to denote him is Amrityu. What a profound nama for the Lord. Mrityuhu Amrityu. Narasimha is Amrityu, the foe of death. What a reassuring nama for all of us. The very contemplation on this nama alone will uproot all kinds of fears. If there is one fear, the primordial fear that all of us have, every living entity has, is the fear of death. And if we have to conquer this one fear, it is only possible through Amrityu, constant contemplation on this nama. Amrityuhu Sarvadrik, the all-seeing, Simhaha. Hinasti Smaranamatrena Samasta Papaniti Simhaha. Hinasti Smaranamatrena Samasta Papaniti Simhaha. He is Simhaha because Smaranamatrena, for one moment if we think of him, the Shastras say all evils are destroyed in our thoughts, in our deeds, and in our words. We get purified. That is why he is Simha, the destroyer of anything which is evil. And in a flash, Hinasti Smaranamatrena Simhaha. Amrityuhu Sarvadrik Simhaha Sandhata Sandhiman. Sandhata, the one who unites his bhaktas with himself. He takes the onus to unite the bhakta with himself. Sandhiman, he is ever united with a bhakta. Stiraha, he is always firm when it comes to protection of his bhaktas. Every avatara has an overriding theme. If there is one avatara which has the theme of protection, it is this avatara. No wonder all acharyas have Narasimha as their Ishtadevata. All acharyas. Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Vallabhacharya, Chaitanya, all the acharyas. Their Aradhya Murti is Narasimha. Because this is one avatara which constantly keeps reminding us of his Rakshakatva. What else do we need? If protection is guaranteed, is assured, there is nothing else we need in this life. Amrityuha Sarvadik Simha Sandhata Sandhiman Stiraha Ajaha Madurmarshana Shasta Vishutatma Surariha. Ajaha, the one who is unborn, the one who removes our obstacles. Durmarshanaha, the unassailable. Shasta, the one who maintains the order. Dharma Samstapana in the universe. Vishrutatma, the one whose exploits, whose leelas are celebrated in wonder. All of us know the gist of Narasimha Avatara. But every time we revisit, we are in wonder, we are in awe. Therefore, he is Vishrutatma Surariha. Sura Ariha. The one who is a destroyer of Suras. Suras here is anyone who has Daivi Sampat. So therefore, he takes over the protection of all those who are on the right path. Narasimhavatara is considered to be the most glorious of all the avatars for several reasons. In fact, even Bhishmacharya, we know that Vishnu Sahasranama celebrates all the avatars. But if we were to look at Vishnu Sahasranama, the very first avatara that is celebrated is Narasimha. Bhishma wanted to give an example. He talks about the transcendental nature of the Lord, the Paratva. The first 3 shlokas of Vishnu Sahasranama celebrates the Paratva of the Lord. Vishwam Vishnur Pashatkaraha Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu Bhuta Krut Bhuta Budbhavo Bhuta Atma Bhuta Vavarha Bhuta Atma Paramatma Muktanam Paramagatihi Apyaya Purushas Sakshi Kshetrajno Kshetyevacha. Now, he has to give an example. Who is the one he's been talking about? And then he immediately says, Yogo Yoga Vidam Neta Pradhana Purusheshwaraha Narasimha Bapu Shriman Keshavaha. So the very first avatara that he celebrates is the avatara of Narasimha. Yogo Yoga Vidam Neta. Yogaha. The Lord himself is called Yogaha. Why? He is the very means to the goal. We don't need to go searching for any other means. The Lord himself is the means. Yoga Vidam Neta. He is not only the means, he also is the Neta, the leader of those who are on the path of yoga, those who want to attain him. Yoga Vidam Neta, Pradhana Purusha Ishwaraha. Pradhana Purusha. Pradhana is the world of matter. Purusha, all the jivas. He is the Ishvara, the ruler of the world of matter and the world of jivas. Pradhana Purusha Ishvaraha. Who is he? Narasimha Bapuhu. The one with a glorious form. A fusion of man and a lion. We all wonder, why did the Lord take this avatara? An avatara, a form which is a fusion of a man and a lion. And then we start analyzing. We start using our intellect and we say, if the Lord has to take a form which is a fusion of a man and lion, what he should ideally be doing? We all know of all the species that is most evolved in terms of brain power, we tend to believe it's humans. We think humans are most evolved in terms of the intellect. And of all the species, the most evolved in terms of muscle power is a lion. Now, what should ideally be the form that the Lord would have taken? He should have possibly, our intellect would tell that he should have taken a fusion, a form which is a fusion of the head of a human and the body of a lion in order to destroy the wicked Asura. But the Lord does exactly the opposite. He takes the form which has the head of a lion and the body of a man, primarily to demonstrate that with our limited intellect, we cannot analyze his limitless capabilities. Aghatita Ghatana Samadhyam. Now, he only has what the Shastras say, Aghatita Ghatana. To bring together two things which we can even never imagine can ever coexist together. The head of a lion and the body of a human. Narasimha Vapuhu. That is why Vapuhu is a beautiful form. Narasimha. Now, the moment we contemplate of this Nama, we may think that this form could be terrifying in nature, very fearful. But Bhishmacharya says, Narasimha Vapuhu Shriman. It's not terrifying, Shriman. One Shriman means one with whom the Shri, the universal mother, is always with him. Therefore, he is beautiful. But he also has his own natural beauty. And Shriman is also one who is auspicious by nature. Therefore, Narasimha Vapuhu Shriman. This is an avatara where the Lord demonstrated his Satya Sankalpa, that he can incarnate at his own free will. This is an avatara where he incarnated in a flash. Unlike the other avataras, where he took birth, he grew, he did lots of cheshtitas, and eventually in the process he did dharma samstapana. This avatara happened in a flash. Very unique avatar. It is terrifying to the wicked. It is awe-inspiring to his devotees. It is intimidating to those who are on the path of adharma. It is inviting to those who are on the path of dharma. So therefore, Bhishmacharya says, Narasimha Vapuhu Shriman Keshavaha. Kesha is hair. Keshavaha. It seems Narasimha has lovely locks of hair, which gives him added beauty. Keshavaha Purushottamaha. He is the Purushottama, Uttama Purusha. In the Gita, Krishna says, who is the Purushottama? Uttama Purushastvanyaha Paramatme Tudahritaha Yo Lokatremavatya Vivatya Avyaya Ishvaraha. Lokatrem Avishya. He pervades and permeates everything in this universe. And Narasimha demonstrates that. We will see how. A glorious avatara which was solely for the sake of Prahlada. If we were to look at this avatara and say, who is the hero of this avatara? Is the Purushottama the hero of this avatara? You would be surprised when we study this avatara in detail. The Lord only plays a part role. He is not the hero in this avatara. The hero is not the Purushottama, the Bhagavatottama. Prahlada is the hero of this avatara. What we see in this avatara, in all the avataras, the Lord takes the responsibility of imparting knowledge. In this avatara, he delegates that to his bhakta. Little Prahlada imparting words of wisdom. So therefore, it's a very special avatara focused on the bhakta. This whole avatara revolves around the bhakta. So no wonder it is considered very special by all the acharyas. Diti had two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha was destroyed by Narayana in his Varaha avatar. This Varaha is not to be confused with the Shweta Varaha, where he established dharma by uplifting the earth, and he also gave the Varaha Charma Shloka. In this is the another. There are two Varaha avatars. One which happened right at the beginning of the Kalpa, Shweta Varaha Kalpa. In this avatara, this happened in Chakshusa Manvantara. The other Varaha avatara happened in Swayambhuva Manvantara. Also, when we look at avatars, we get completely misdirected by now the so-called list of popular avatars, Dashavatara. That is not the order of avatars. Later on in the recent times, for the sake of easy remembrance, the Dashavatara sequence was put together. But originally, the very first avatara, right at the beginning of Shvetavaraha Kalpa, Swayambhuva Manvantara, was the Varaha avatar. The second Varaha avatara, which happened in Chakshusha Manvantara, was to destroy the evil Hiranyaksha, the brother of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu took a vow now to take revenge. And Hiranyakashipu decided to retire from his capital, go to the forest and do severe penances and invoke Brahma in order to obtain boons, a boon that would make him unassailable, a boon that would make him all-powerful. And Hiranyakashipu was ruling all the lokas, and the devas were moved out of their loka. And when Hiranyakashipu retired to the forest to do penance, the devas took the opportunity and laid siege to the capital of Hiranyakashipu. And they were about to abduct Kayathu and destroy the embryo that was growing, the womb in Kayathu, in order to stop the lineage of Hiranyakashipu. Narada passed by and he assured them that the son of Kayathu is going to be a great bhakta, and Narada escorted Kayathu all the way to his hermitage, and he ensured her care in his hermitage, and Kayathu was taken care in Narada's hermitage. And it seems every day Narada indulged in imparting Brahmajnana. He was giving discourses on Brahmajnana, and Kayathu was patiently listening when she was pregnant. And it seems after a while, Narada was not like us. He could speak at length, hours and hours. And when it comes to speaking about the Lord, Narada never knew time. Time went by and he continued to speak the glories, and Kayathu after a time started to sleep. But Narada noticed that while Kayathu went asleep, the little one inside her womb was attentively listening. So therefore Narada continued his discourses every day, and Prahlada, right in the womb of Kayathu, started to acquire Brahmajnana. He was listening to Narada with all devotion right from the time when he was in his mother's womb. That is how the seed of bhakti was planted in Prahlada right before his very birth. Now, later, when Hiranyakashipu came back, Kayathu returned, gave birth to Prahlada. Prahlada started to grow, and as was the custom, he was sent to Gurukula. Of course, the rule of the day was everything which was not Vaidika has to be taught. Because Hiranyakashipu, of course, wanted his glories to be taught. So all the lessons, it's like how, in the recent times, our textbooks are filled with everything which is Avaidika, reminding us of what happened in those days. Hiranyakashipu's instructions were not to teach anything about the Lord, because Hiranyakashipu believed that he was the ruler and he alone is the ruler. Therefore, Prahlada spent some time in Gurukula, and one of those vacations, Prahlada came back home, and Hiranyakashipu was very eager to find out what Prahlada was learning. So Hiranyakashipu asked him, matter of fact, Prahlada, I'm very eager to know your progress in your education. Can you share with me what you have been learning? Of course, Prahlada was a very, very good student. So Prahlada replied, Anadi madhyantam ajam vriddikshayam achyutam pranatosmi mahatmanam sapakarana karanam shasta vishnu raseshasya jagatoyo hridistitaha tamrite paramatmanam tata kakkena shasvate. Very profound response from Prahlada. Hiranyakashipu wanted to know, what are you learning? Prahlada says, Father, what else should one be learning other than learning about the cause of this universe, about the creator of this universe? Anadimadyantam ajam vriddikshayam, the one who is never subject to any decay like you and me, who is beyond karma, who has no birth, who has no death like you and me, who is the cause of all causes, sarva karana karana, who is the Paramatma, who is the indweller in each and every one of us. What else should one study other than knowing about the cause of all causes? If I know the source, then I know everything else. This is what today's education is lacking. And Prahlada says, that source I have been learning, I have been dwelling on finding out more, knowing him, the Paramatma, the Sarvakarana. Knowing him, everything else is known. And that is what I have been learning. Paramatma, Srihari, Narayana. More than Hiranyakashipu, Prahlada's teacher was shocked. But this is not what he has been teaching. He did not know where from Prahlada is getting all this kind of thoughts. And Hiranyakashipu, of course, was enraged. How can he stand somebody, his own son, coming to him and saying, what all that I need to learn is know about the Paramatma, the real God, the ruler of this entire universe. Hiranyakashipu cannot bear to hear, and he looked at the teachers, and immediately the teachers had to defend what they have been doing. And then he gave him a chance, the Prahlada's guru, to go and re-indoctrinate and teach him the right things. This never happened. Prahlada was not shaken. His bhakti was steadfast. And the wicked Hiranyakashipu could not tolerate this any longer, and therefore he decided that he will eliminate Prahlada. This is what happens when one is blinded. When one is blinded with ajnana, one can go to any length. And therefore Hiranyakashipu decided to eliminate Prahlada, and then he gave orders. Immediately the Daityas tried to cut Prahlada with a sword. Nothing could happen. Prahlada was not able to be cut by a sword. Hiranyakashipu commanded poisonous serpents, to bite Prahlada. He was bit by all kinds of poisonous snakes, but nothing happened to Prahlada. He was contemplating on the Lord, and no harm could be done to him. Hiranyakashipu then engaged elephants to trample Prahlada. But no elephant could step on Prahlada. He tried to burn him with fire, but fire could not burn him, because the radiance of the Lord protected Prahlada from all kinds of injuries. Hiranyakashipu could not understand what was going on. And then the Daitya Gurus asked Hiranyakashipu for some more time. They said, give us some more time, we will take him and we will try to brainwash him again. Hiranyakashipu was asking, what happened to you? What is that which is possessing you? Prahlada says, whatever is possessing me is also possessing you, my father. Why are you saying this? Whoever is making you to ask this question is making me to answer your question. Prahlada was speaking in riddles. This is what happens when somebody has Brahmajnana. So now the Daitya Gurus took Prahlada back to ashram again, and the teaching began. Not from the Guru to Prahlada, but from Prahlada to the Daitya Gurus. Prahlada now started to conduct classes for everyone, for all the Daityas, including the Gurus. This is where we see quintessential wisdom that Prahlada gives. Asara samsara vivattaneshu ayatatosham prasabham brabhimi sarvatra daityaha samatamupetya samatvam aradhanam achyutasya, he says. He looks around everybody in the class, including his gurus. He says, Asara samsara vivartaneshu mayatatosham prasabham brabhimi. He says, in this samsara where we are constantly revolving, going around and around in cycles, in births and deaths, if we try to find fulfillment, contentment, happiness in the cycle of samsara, we will never be successful. There is no way that one can find everlasting happiness, everlasting contentment in this samsara. As the body, as long as the Atma is surrendered to the body, the Atma will never find contentment. Only when the Atma surrenders to Paramatma, it will find contentment and happiness. Prahlada says, one needs to constantly serve the Lord. The natural constitution of every individual is to serve the Lord. Now, the R here is very important in serve. S-E-R-V-E. The R. R stands for raga. R is raga, attachment. When one is attached to the Lord, then the R is in the right place. S-E-R-V-E. One serves the Lord. the R is in the right place, the attachment to the Lord. When this attachment is to the body and not to the Lord, then the R is not in the right place, then it goes to a wrong place and serve becomes sever, S-E-V-E-R. One sever means to cut one's attachment from the Lord. And when one starts to live a life of disattachment from the Lord and attachment to the body, ego grows. So you add the E to sever, it becomes severe. And that is samsara. Samsara is a severe state where one is not only ignorant. Prahlada says it is even okay if one is not ignorant about the eternal nature of the Atman. But the problem is one is ignorant about the mortal nature of the body. That is even more dangerous. The danger is not about ignorance of the eternal nature of the Atman. It is about the ignorance about the mortality of the body. Because in samsara, everybody is trying to avoid the disorders of life, thinking that they can actually avoid disorders. But death and decay are unavoidable. The body is designed to be mortal, designed to perish. Life is subject to the law of impermanence of everything. So therefore, how can one try to run away from disorders of life when life by very design is supposed to be impermanent? So therefore, Prahlada says, Asara samsara vivartaneshu mayatatosham prasabham bravini. So how can one find contentment? All the Daityas ask him. Sarvatra Daityaha samata mupetya samatvam aradhanam achyutasya, he says. Only when one starts to worship the Lord, only then one can develop peace of mind. Equanimity of mind will only develop when one starts to worship Him. The entire universe, everything that we use are only His resource. If we stop chasing His resource and chase the source, samatva happens. The problem we all of us have is we only see the resource without seeing the source of all the resources. He says the moment when we start recognizing the source of all the resources that we have, samatva happens, equanimity of mind happens. Asara samsara vivartaneshu mayatatosham prasabham bravimi sarvatra daityaha samata mupetya samatvam aradhanam achyutasya tasmin prasanne kimihasya labhyam dharmartakamayir alamalpakaste, he says. Anything that is pleasing to Him when we do, that action becomes successful. Dharmartakamayir alamalpakaste. What is the point in doing even actions that are rooted in dharma but chasing worldly pleasures, worldly goals? Where is the end? One would always start at the finishing. We think we have reached the finishing line only to realize that we are actually on the starting line. Therefore, what is the point in chasing everything in this world without really chasing the source of everything? Prahlada gives that quintessential wisdom to all. And then he also starts to say, let me tell you, Hiranyakashipu may be my father, but he is wicked. He is on the path of adharma. Do not follow what he says. Do not follow his instructions. Now the Daitya Gurus are worried. Now he is now inciting a revolution. They say this is too late. Now they immediately rush, bring him back to Hiranyakashipu and say, there is something very dangerous that is happening. There is no way that we can control him. We try to indoctrinate, but of no use. Then Hiranyakashipu engages Sambhasura. Sambhasura had what was called Maya Sahasram, a unique weapon of 1,000 different kinds of weapons all put together. And Sambhasura used this Maya Sahasram against Prahlada, and Prahlada was protected by Sudarshana Chakra of the Lord. Nothing could do harm to him. Hiranyakashipu then ordered cooks to add poison to Prahlada's food, and Prahlada was fed with poisoned food, and the Narayana Nama made the poison innocuous. He consumed food as usual, and no harm happened to Prahlada. When Prahlada was thrown from the top of a mountain, again nothing happened because Bhudevi was there to protect him. Again, Prahlada came back to the palace smiling. Hiranyakashipu did not understand what was going on. He looked at Prahlada and says, "What is happening? How come a sword couldn't cut you? How come a fire couldn't burn you? How come poison couldn't harm you? How come that we are unable to do anything to even evil incantations that were used by the Daityas, evoking ghosts, could kill you? What is that is giving you the strength? What is the magic? What is the miracle? What is protecting you?" asked Hiranyakashipu. Again, Prahlada gave a very profound response. He looked at Hiranyakashipu and says, "Shariram manasam dukkham daivam bhutabhavam tata sarvatra shubhachittasya jayate tasya me kutaha evam sarveshu bhuteshu bhaktiravyavicharini kartavya pandite jnatva sarvabhutamayam harim." He says, all of us are subject to three tapatrayas: adhyatmaka, adi bhautika, adi daivika. These are called tapatrayas. Adhyatmika, sufferings which are caused by my own body and by my own mind. This is adhyatmika, sufferings which are adhyatmika. Adi bhautika, sufferings which are caused by other entities. Adi daivika, sufferings that are caused by nature. He says, any living entity cannot escape from these three kinds of sufferings: adhyatmika, adi daivika, adi bhautika. Now, but these three kinds of sufferings do not bother me at all, he says. How can I be bothered by any kind of suffering? How can anything hurt me when I am filled with Narayana? When my mind and my heart is filled with the Paramatma, what can harm me? How will I even think of anything called suffering? Suffering is not there in my dictionary whatsoever, he says. Evam sarveshu bhuteshu bhaktiravyavicharini. One who has bhakti, that gives the strength, he says. Therefore, to answer Hiranyakashipu's question, what is protecting you from all this? What is that which is ensuring that you are saved from all kinds of perils? Prahlada's one single word answer is my bhakti. My bhakti is my kavacha. Therefore, nothing can happen to me, he says. Hiranyakashipu was furious. He says, okay, there is only one thing that can be done. Now, he needs to be forever eliminated. So he says, tie him to the depths of ocean. Tie him down to the depths of ocean and fill the ocean with piles of rocks all over. Therefore, he will die. He will not come back, and he will continue to be there, and eventually he will die. So all the Daityas now take Prahlada, tie him completely. They take him to the depths of the ocean. And after leaving him there, they cover him with piles of stones. The ocean is filled with stones. And Hiranyakashipu finally is giving a sigh of relief. Good riddance. Now, grave adversity for Prahlada. But the grave adversity presents a glorious opportunity for the Bhakta. Now, amidst all this adversity, Prahlada finds time now to come up with a glorious prayer to the Lord. This is what is popularly celebrated as the Prahlada Stuti. Namaste Pundarikaksha, Namaste Purushottama, Namaste Sarvalokatman, Namaste Tigvachakrine, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, Jagadhitaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. What a glorious prayer. Prahlada Stuti, in all the adversity, that is the greatness of Bhakta. He is able to forget about all the sufferings and just stay connected with Bhagavan. He is describing the glory of the Lord, and he says, I know that when you are with me, when you are inside me, why should I be worried? nothing of this is suffering for me at all. And miraculously, Prahlada is rescued from the depths of the ocean, and Prahlada comes back to the palace. Hiranyakashipu is completely lost, frustrated, furious. And he says, now this is the end of it. This is the limit of it, he says. And he says, you are talking about your Paramatma, your Narayana. Where is he? Is he in Vaikuntha? Should I go and find out, go in search of your Narayana? He says, you don't need to go searching for him. He's everywhere. He's all over. He is within you. He is within me. He is everywhere. Wherever we want to see him, he is there. Hiranyakashipu is not ready to believe. Are you saying that he is there amidst us here? Can I see him? He says, of course, you can see him. So he says, Hiranyakashipu had a grand palace. Right? A palace of hundreds and hundreds of pillars. And he points to one of the pillars. And he says, do you think your Lord is here right in this pillar? Lord says, of course, he is very much there in this pillar. Then Hiranyakashipu takes his mace and rushes towards the pillar. And this very incident is gloriously described in the Dashavatara Stotra. Pratyadishta Puratana Praharana Gramaha Kshanam Panijaihi Abhyatrini Jaganti Akunta Mahima Vaikunta Kantiravaha Yat Pradurbhavanat Avandya Jatara Yadrichika Vedasam Yakachit Sahasa Mahasura Grastuna Pitamahyamu. Beautifully, the Stotra describes how the incarnation happened. Pratyadishta Puratana Praharana Gramaha Kshanam. The Lord is always united with his weapons. Shankha, Chakra, Gada. Always. The Divyayudhas are always one with the Lord. It seems, in this case, the Lord requested the Divyayudhas to stay away from him for a moment. Pratyadishta Puratana Praharana Gramaha Kshanam. He made a request to all his Divyayudhas. Time has come for me to incarnate. Paritranaya Sadhuna Vinashaya Chadushkritam Dharma Samstapanarthaya. The time has come for me to establish order. Therefore, let me make a request to you. The Lord is requesting his Divyayudhas, to the Sudarshana Chakra, to his mace, to the Sharanga. He says, can you stay aside for a moment? Can you leave me alone? I want to go on my own without you. The weapons are all, very surprised. We are always united with you. Why do you want us not to be with you? He says, there is a boon that was given to Hiranyakashipu by Brahma. And I need to necessarily keep up Brahma's word. This is the greatness of the Lord. On the one hand, he needs to keep the promise of his Bhakta Prahalada. On the other hand, he also needs to keep the promise of another Bhakta Brahma. That is why he is Bhakta Vatsala. So he needs to ensure that there is no conflict between these two Bhaktas. So on the one hand, Prahlada has pointed his finger to this pillar. And he needs to emanate from there. On the other hand, another Bhakta Brahma has given a word to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, when he asked for a boon, he asked that no weapon, no man, no deva, no animal could kill him. So therefore, the Lord cannot use any of his weapons. That's the reason why I want you to stay away from me for a flash. So the weapons turn around and ask, then how are you going to eliminate Hiranyakashipu? Pratyadishta Puratana Praharana Gramaha Kshanam Panijaihi. Panijai, fingernails. Panijai. Pani is fingers. Panijai, that which grows on the fingers. Now, Hiranyakashipu also had another boon. He said, neither living nor non-living can kill me. So the Lord decided to use nails. The nails can grow, so therefore they are living. The nails can also be cut without any suffering, so they're also they are non-living as well. The nails are both living and non-living, so therefore that qualifies for the boon of Hiranyakashipu, that something which is non-living and living, which is neither living nor non-living. And it also qualifies to meet the boon that none of the weapons. Therefore he says, I will use my nails to destroy Hiranyakashipu. Pratyadishta Puratana Praharana Gramaha Kshanam Panijaihi Avyatrini Jaganti Akuntha Mahima Vaikuntha Kantiravaha. Vaikuntha Kantiravaha. Kantirava is a lion. The lion of Vaikuntha roared and decided to incarnate as another lion in the form of a lion. The lion which rules the three worlds decided to encounter Hiranyakashipu. Avyatrini Jaganti Akuntha Mahima Vaikuntha Kantiravaha Yat Pradurbhavanat Avandhya Jatara. Yat Pradurbhavanat Avandhya Jatara. It seems the pillar in Hiranyakashipu's palace was barren, was infertile, and the Lord decided to relieve it of its infertility by taking birth from it. The pillar gave birth to the Lord, so it seems the pillar till then was barren, was infertile. The Lord also decided to relieve it of its infertility. Avandhya Jatara Yadrichika. Nobody knew what is the form that the Lord is going to take. Neither Brahma knew, nor Prahlada knew, nor Hiranyakashipu knew, nor the Lord himself knew. It happened in a jiffy, in an instant, in a flash. Also, the Lord did not know where Prahlada was going to point his finger. So more anxious than Prahlada was the Lord himself, waiting to see where the Prahlada is going to point his finger so that he can emanate from that place. And nobody knew. Therefore, Yadrichika Vedasam. Therefore, the Lord in a jiffy took a form that was unimaginable. Nobody could conceive of that kind of a form. Yadrichika Vedasam Yakachit Sahasa Mahasura Grahastuna Pitamahya Bhut. Mahasura Grahastuna. By taking birth from a pillar in the great Asura's palace, the Acharya Vedanta Desika who wrote the shloka, he says, the Lord made Brahma his grandfather. Brahma, why? Because the pillar which gave birth to the Lord became the grandmother of Brahma. Because the Lord is Brahma's father and the Lord took birth from the pillar, therefore the pillar became grandmother of Brahma, he says. Yeah. Mahasura Grihastuna Pitamahya Bhut. Therefore the pillar needs to be celebrated as Brahma's grandmother. And the Lord, it seems, emanated from that pillar. The question that Hiranyakashipu asked was, can I find your Lord in this pillar? Prahlada said, yes, why not? And when Hiranyakashipu took the mace and hit the pillar, out emanated such a form that was fearful and that struck terror in the hearts of Hiranyakashipu. But the same form invoked deep love in the hearts of Prahlada. Prahlada looks at the form and he says, Gajjantam, Gajjayantam, Nijabuchapatalam, Spotayantam, Hatantam, Rupayantam, Tapayantam, Divibubidijam, Kshepayantam, Kshivantam, Grantantam, Roshayantam, Dishi Sasatam, Samuharantam, Bharantam, Vikshantam, Kurnayantam, Karnikarste, Divyasimham Namami. Here Hiranyakashipu is running away from the form. On the other hand, Prahlada is approaching the same form and glorifying the beauty of the form. The Lord emanates out of the form and then tears apart Hiranyakashipu by taking him on his lap. Another boon of Hiranyakashipu was he could be killed neither outside nor inside. Therefore, the Lord chooses place which is exactly in between, the doorway. So, for he is neither in nor out. Hiranyakashipu also had a boon where he could neither be killed during day or during night. The Lord again chooses exactly the Sandhya Kala, right? Neither day nor evening, and he chooses the right time, and the Lord tears apart Hiranyakashipu then and there, and Prahlada was rescued from the evils of Hiranyakashipu. The whole avatara lasts only for a few moments, but there is a huge message that the Lord sends through this avatara. The message of his Rakshakatva, his protection. We all think he is Ugra. The Mantrarajapada Stotra glorifies him saying Ugram Veeram Mahavishnu. Ugram is poorly translated as anger. But how can we associate our anger, which only is our property? How can we associate it to the Lord? In his dictionary there cannot be anything called anger. Therefore, Ugram is not anger. Ugram, the Stotra, Mantrarajapada Stotra explains why the Lord is called Ugram. Vruttotpulla Visalaksham Vipaksha Kshayadikshitam Ninadatrasta Vishwandam Vishnum Ugram Namamyaham. Why is Ugram? It says Vruttotpulla Visalaksham. It seems his eyes were so broad and beautiful that they stretched all the way to the ears. Fully blossomed lotus-like eyes. Vipaksha Kshayadikshitam. The one who destroys Vipaksha, those who are on the path of Adharma. That is the reason why he is called Ugram. He is Viram because he is courageous. What is courage here? It is to protect his devotees. Sharanagata Vatsala. He is the one who is a protector. Therefore, that is why he is Veera. Ugram, Veeram, Mahavishnu. Narasimha Avatara is a Mukhya Avatara of Narayana. Therefore, he is celebrated as Mahavishnu. Ugram, Veeram, Mahavishnu, Jwalantam. He is full of effulgence, brilliance, all over. Jwalantam, Savato Mukham. All-seeing, omniscient. Nrasimham, Bhishanam. He strikes terror in the hearts of those who are wicked. Bhadram. What is Bhadram? Bhadram is auspiciousness. That is the reason why we need to always constantly listen to his leelas. The Shastras say, Bhadram karnevi shrunuyavadeva. Bhadram pashe rakshabir yajatraha. Always listen to his glories. Therefore, he is called Bhadram. He is also Mrityor Mrityu. He is the death of death. He is the very death of death. That is the reason why Narasimha is celebrated, because he is the one who can remove all our fears. We started off looking at how he is Amrityu. Contemplation on Narasimha is the only means to conquer our fears. Fear is not absence. Fear is not absence of fearfulness. We need to understand this. There is no way we can remove fears. Fear is natural. We are all mortal. So therefore, fear is very natural to us. So fearlessness is not absence of fear. Fearlessness is awareness of Narasimha's presence with us. Let me once again re-emphasize this point. Fearlessness is not absence of fear. If we think we can get rid of our fears, if fears can be absent, it's a futile wish. So therefore, fearlessness is not absence of fears, but fearlessness is the awareness of his presence with us all the time. When we are aware of his presence, all the fears will be taken care of. So therefore, that is the reason why he is celebrated as Mrityor Mrityum Namamyaham. Ugram, Veeram, Mahavishnum, Jwalantam, Savato Mukham, Simham, Bhishanam, Bhadram, Mrityor Mrityum Namamyaham. So therefore, let us, on this auspicious occasion of Narasimha Jayanti, let us contemplate on this glorious avatara. The only avatara which was focused on protection of his bhakta. The only avatara where the hero is the bhakta himself. Let us relish this avatara. Let us continue to contemplate on the Narasimha. The more we contemplate on his divine form, Narasimha Vapuhu Shriman. So there is no reason for us to worry about. Many of us are worried. Can we have Narasimha Murti in our houses? Is he not fearful? Many of us are worried. Can we have Narasimha Shaligrama? He is full of, he is fearful, frightful. Can we have in our altars the Murti of Narasimha? Answer is very simple. All acharyas that we can think of, their Murti was Narasimha. So therefore, all our masters have shown us the way that Narasimha, and most of the temples that we go to, somewhere you will find one altar for Narasimha.
Even all the ISKCON temples, when we go, you will find that there is one altar which has Narasimha there. So therefore, Narasimha is prayed for conquering all our fears. So therefore, on this auspicious day, let us all pray to Narasimha to uproot all our fears, to be present with us, to counter all our fears and make us fearless. Simhamuke Raudrarupinyam Abhayahasthankita Karunamurte Sarvavyapitam Lokarakshakam Papavimochan Durita Nivaranam Sarvabhishta Maneh Dehi Lakshmi Narasimha. Jai Narasimha.